Observe the energy of a local campaign rally. Success often depends on a very specific transaction, the distribution of immediate, tangible goods, cash, food, and handouts designed to satisfy hunger in the moment. This behavior stems from viewing the state as a static, national cake, a resource that exists only to be sliced and consumed right now, rather than a system that needs to be maintained. This creates a paradox. Millions of people choose to trade their long-term influence over policy and national resources for a one-time payout that vanishes in a few hours. In this lopsided deal, the voter accepts a few crumbs of stomach infrastructure while handing over total control of the nation's future wealth and policy. The physical evidence of this trade is everywhere. When policy control is traded for handouts, the foundational systems of the country, the roads we drive on and the bridges we cross, are left to crumble. Long-term benefits like reliable energy and modern healthcare are the dividends of a healthy state. These are exactly what people lose when they prioritize the immediate payout. Why do millions of people repeatedly choose to sign away their political power for so little in return? This pattern persists because a survival mindset forces the vulnerable to prioritize a meal today over the abstract hope of a better system tomorrow. In a democracy, the exploitation of the public requires their silent permission. This permission is granted whenever the technical mechanics of power remain invisible to the people. These technical substructures of governance, budget processes, legislative oversight, and local autonomy, are intentionally obscured. Without understanding them, a citizen cannot see how power is used. This complexity creates blind spots, making it impossible to spot diverted funds or fraudulent policies. This lack of technical understanding hits hardest at the local level, where a community's ability to manage its own affairs is quietly stripped away. Because people cannot see the architectural flaws in their own state, they effectively grant politicians unlimited authority to act on their behalf, without any real oversight. When leaders are unable to govern with technical competence, they pivot. They begin to trigger primitive emotional responses rather than logical ones. They manufacture identity-based safety, convincing voters they are the sole protector of a specific ethnic or religious group against an outside threat. For someone in a state of survival, this is a powerful trap. They trade their political agency for a sense of short-term safety, even if the system around them is failing. Over time, this survival mindset causes the drive to improve the nation to wither. Total systemic failure is no longer questioned. It is simply accepted as an unavoidable fate. By exploiting these fears, the politician transforms an active citizen into a passive subject who can only react to hunger and threats. A citizen's vulnerability stems from a lack of functional capacity to hold the levers of the state, regardless of their level of patriotism. Overcoming this requires us to treat citizenship as a professional competency, a set of technical skills required to build and replenish the institutions of a nation. This chart maps the necessary change. We must move from being reactive subjects driven by immediate needs to becoming strategic and analytical citizens who prioritize long-term values. This means moving past the idea that one person will save the country. True recovery is found in the collective work of building strong institutions, not in waiting for a savior. Rebuilding the nation requires civic muscle to discern the difference between an orator and a builder, and the technical vision to spot a fraudulent policy before it is too late. The state requires the collective maintenance of a living system rather than the quick consumption of a static prize. We must stop viewing our votes as a way to get a slice of cake today and start viewing them as an investment that must yield dividends for decades. Real power only begins when we stop acting like subjects begging for handouts and step up as the primary owners of our nation's future.